Hi guys, my name is Tania and Booktubeathon starts tomorrow. So in case you don't know, which you probably do but that's beside the point, Booktubeathon is an annual booktube readathon and this year it's running from the 3rd to the 9th of August. This is the first time I've actually taken part in it, as it's my first Booktubeathon since kind of changing over my channel to being a booktube channel. And I'm generally rubbish at readathons, but I thought I would give it a go again as this is such a big community event that hopefully it will kick me up the bum and make me get my reading done. And whilst there are separate video challenges each day of the Booktubeathon, there are also 7 challenges to take into account when creating your TBR for this readathon, and this is that video. So the first challenge is to read a book with blue on the cover, for which I have selected Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. I actually stole this off of Beth when we moved house, and as I looked upon my bookshelves in despair because all of the books with blue on the covers are intense, I stumbled back across this. It had just kind of slid its way onto my shelf and was like, hey, blue. Sorted. The second challenge is to read a book by an author who shares the first letter of your last name. So as my surname Druitt begins with a D, I have picked out Not That Kind of Girl by Lena Dunham. I picked this up at Sainsbury's when I was at home, and I don't really understand if it's fiction or non-fiction or what, but it sounds really interesting and quite in a similar vein to How to Build a Girl by Caitlin Moran, which I read whilst I was at home and when I bought this book. And as it was either this or The Three Musketeers by Alexander Dumas, this seemed like the logical option for a readathon. The third challenge is to read someone else's favourite book. So I've had to do a bit of catching up as prep for this challenge because I am quite far behind the rest of the world in a lot of popular book series, including the Throne of Glass series. So I picked this book based very much on an assumption, but I have been and asked her now, and for this challenge I have picked Beth's favourite book, which is Air of Fire by Sarah J Maas. Apparently this is the point at which everyone thinks I'm really going to fall in love with this series, and I have been enjoying these books enough that I've been rocketing through them at quite a pace. So this should kill 2 birds with one stone in that I will finally be caught up on the series and I will also get through it pretty quickly. So the next challenge is to read the last book that you acquired, which for me is technically Eragon by Christopher Paolini, yet another book series that I'm miles behind on reading. Whilst this looks like a small book, compared to an average sized book, it's quite short. I can't line it up, but it's a short tiny little book. But then you look inside and the font is this teeny weeny little, like, oh my gosh. And as I've been waiting so long to read this book, I don't want to spoil that by trying to rush through it. So whilst I picked this up in a charity shop, around the same time I picked up another book in a different charity shop, which is What Happened to Goodbye by Sarah Dessen. I know that I can devour Sarah Dessen books when I want to, and this doesn't feel like such high stakes as Eragon, so I'm cheating and I'm going to be reading this one. I think I acquired it the day before I bought Eragon, so it's pretty close. The next challenge tickles me. I really enjoy this idea and I'm keen to give it a good shot. The challenge is to finish a book without letting go of it. So generally the idea has been to kind of pick out a short, fast read. I have pulled off of my shelf Why I Write by George Orwell, which seems like a pretty gritty, serious kind of thing to pick up for a read in one sitting challenge. But it's a tiny little book. It's only 119 pages long and I'm really interested to read it, so I think that actually I should be able to get through it relatively quickly. I'm probably just going to sit down on Wednesday morning and read my way through it or something like that. The 6th challenge is to read a book that you really want to read, which is incredibly kind, and I think like quite a lot of people I looked at my bookshelf and was like, I actually do want to read all of these books, but bearing in mind the number of books you're aiming to read in the week, it's generally sensible not to go for, you know, the heftiest book on your shelf that you really want to read. So I have picked up In Memory by Joshua Sutton. Josh is actually a guy who I've known for a number of years and he's just recently had his first book, this book, released. And although it is very much out of my comfort zone, dealing with kind of demons and possession, this is one of the first books released by a person that I actually know, and I think that's infinitely cool and I really want to support him in that, so I bought a copy of the book. And I am really excited to read it and I haven't got round to it yet, probably because even though I'm excited to read it I'm going, oh my gosh, it's not my sort of thing. But it's not a genre I often read, so I should, you know, break out, give it a go, see what happens. The 7th and final challenge is to read 7 books, which means that with the 6 previous challenges I am a book short, unless I read Eragon, which I'm not going to do. So when I turned around to look at my shelf to pick up a 7th book, my eyes went straight to the book that I have been putting on every TBR for the last 2 to 3 months and still haven't read because I'm rubbish at TBRs, and that is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. I still can't believe I haven't read this book. It's so yellow and sun-marie and it's orange. I don't know, I keep fighting with people about the colour of this book, but it's such a good colour and I really need to read it. Why haven't I read it yet? So if I finish my previous 6 books, because those are my priorities for this week, I will be moving on to this as my 7th book. So yeah, this has been my TBR for the 2015 Booktubeathon. I'm just really excited to actually get involved, do my best to complete the challenges, complete my reading, and just have a good time. I'm ridiculously excited for this week actually. So let me know if you're joining in as well so I can check out your TBRs, what you're up to and everything. I hope you're all ready and I hope you have an amazing week, and I am very certain that I will see you soon.